You're listening to the Bahá'í World News Service.
Now live local house of worship.
Naglilingkod kay Bahá'í. In this episode, Townshend Lihanda, member of the Board of Counsellors in Africa, shares stories of individual and collective transformation in Kenya, inspired by Baha'i moral and spiritual education programs. From the Bahá'í World News Service, this is Insights from the Field, a podcast series that explores the experiences from Baha'i efforts to contribute to social progress, from the grassroots to the international level. Across the world, people from diverse backgrounds are participating in Baha'i moral and spiritual educational programs offered by Baha'i training institutes. These programs aim to explore our spiritual identity, raise consciousness about the energies latent in the human soul, and develop moral capabilities to contribute to the betterment of society. Mr. Lihanda recounts the transformative impact that the spiritual teachings in these courses have on both individuals and society.
One example that I would like to share is related to how the different forces in the community can in many ways influence the young people, but how participation in this educational process creates a very flourishing environment. So there was this young girl in one of the communities who was struggling so much with these forces, and she had been so much influenced that the community did not just know what to do. But one day, one of the friends was actually walking to the study of this sequence of courses, and as she was walking along, she saw this young lady along the way, and she asked, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Well, we are having our study in this particular place." And this young lady asked, "Can I join you?" And she said, "Of course, you can come." Well, when she got there, the friends were exploring different concepts. And one of the quotations that really struck this young lady is from the writings of Baha'u'llah, that he says, "The betterment of the world can be accomplished through pure and goodly deeds, through commendable and seemly conduct." And this young girl began to reflect and think about this particular quotation. What does this mean to my community, myself, and the environment that I live in? And how does this relate to what I do, what I consume, the people I interact with, how they influence me, and how I influence them? And this study seemed to go beyond just coming together and studying, but strengthening the bond of friendship and relationship that assisted them as participants to know each other better, to know the challenges that each other were facing, the forces around them. So through this study, and as they continue to advance and explore concepts related to prayer, really thinking about that and thinking about the power of divine assistance in whatever we do, they began to think about how they would be able to invite those that were close to them. And as a result of that, a few of her friends also began to participate in a space of coming together more regularly, say prayers together, and study some of the holy writings, deeply reflecting about the purpose of their own creation and how they would contribute to the advancement of their own community. And it was really very encouraging to see, as a result of this, the community began to move much more closer. So this young girl saw the need also to contribute in her small way by having a children class in her own community and beginning to think about how these many principles can be cultivated to small children from a very tender age, beginning to think about their own environment, their own community, and the contribution they can make as young children. And as a result of this, just one young lady, it has had quite a far-reaching implication to many other young people in the community. It's quite amazing how new cultures are beginning to form in this community, that people now see the need of visiting each other in their own homes and exploring concepts of profound meaning to their own lives. Another very interesting example is related to a young lady, and she participated in the study for a period of about 4 weeks. And in this period of study, it went beyond just studying, but knowing each other more. And one of the courses, as this young lady caught her attention, was related to the spiritual empowerment of young people. In the Bahá'í writings, Baha'u'llah says that man is a supreme talisman, and he talks about how education alone can assist mankind to reveal many of these treasures. So as this young lady got attracted more and more to these concepts, they began to transform her own life. And when she went back home after advancing through and being together with the rest of others in the study, her own child observed some changes in her. The way she interacted with her daughter was completely different with how she did before. She was more friendly. She was more kind. Now she would pray together with her child every morning and every evening. This attracted the attention of her own mother, and her mother commended. She said, I see a lot of transformation in yourself, and how you deal with your child is different from the way you did it. This motivated this young lady even more, and she began to think about the contribution she would make to the children in her own community. And as a result of this, she was able to begin a children class in her own community. But now the community realized that she couldn't do it alone, and what they needed to do was the need of more and more of the members of the community finding a way of advancing through this institute process and contributing to the development of their own community. In this community, more and more of them began to go through the institute courses, and the amazing thing was that this transformative effect was now felt from those who are at the very tender age to those who are old. And one of the very interesting things was that those who are from the age of 12 years, they entered into another program. This was spiritual empowerment program for the youth. And as this youth began to explore many concepts related to their own lives, they also began to think about those who are younger than them and the contributions they would actually make to the children by, say, offering some tutorial lessons to them and assisting them with a few things related to their own study And also those who are older began to think about the education of the youth. And as a result of this educational process, this habit of studying and, thinking about our own community began to get cultivated to everybody, from those who are at the very young age to those who are youth and those who are older. So they are able to go back to the books and think about the importance of gaining knowledge and how knowledge is a very powerful instrument to the progress of a community. And not just thinking about this knowledge in a very narrow way, but thinking about the spiritual knowledge that we get and the scientific knowledge, and how these two knowledge can make a world become a much more better place. And as a result of that, this community, the friends began to draw on other scientific knowledge that is actually offered, thinking about their mode of agriculture, how the current mode of farming can benefit from the mode of farming that has been there for decades and centuries. And when the two merges, how it's possible to get even something better. But then as a result of that, this community became, in a way I can say, a scientific community. A community that is eager to investigate its own reality, do things together, consult together, reflect on what they are doing as a community, and make adjustments. This is what we are seeing in many of these communities, that it begins with a single individual. More and more members of the communities begin to get involved. And as a result of that, the leadership and the authority of the village is getting involved in this process. And the entire community is able to consult together, think about their spiritual advancement, think about their moral advancement, think about the future, and think about how, as a community, they are able to advance together. More and more in these communities, the friends are beginning to understand about the purpose of education. It's beyond just going and getting a better career so that you can earn and get more wealth. It's different from that. It's really thinking about service and the service we render to the community. And this is our true identity. And as a result of that, more and more people are concerned about the education of the entire population, not just their own children. And with this understanding, individuals are able to explore how, as a whole, we can contribute to the advancement of our own community and the different career choices that the young people are taking. It becomes a collective way of thinking about it. And as they think about the different careers, it's not that I take this career so that I can become more wealth, but how does this career help me in contributing to the transformation of my own village? Or how does this career address some of the issues that my community is struggling with? For example, if a young person takes a career in agriculture, how does that influence the practices of agriculture at the level of the community? Or if a young person takes a course in health, how does that contribute to the entire discourse at the level of the community around health? In this journey of identifying our true identity, we cannot walk alone. We can walk this path as a community, and we can think of how to make our community a better place.
You've been listening to Insights from the Field, a podcast series from the Bahá'í World News Service. For more podcasts and stories, visit news.bahai.org.